there, welcome to the Focus Podcast with Tara Lee. This is the place where we talk about real life, real relationships, and how to grow through it all. If you're looking for simple mindset shifts, better communication, and deeper connections, you're in the right spot. Let's dive in. Hey friends, welcome to the Focus Podcast, where we help parents move from conflict to connection using the Focus framework. Today's conversation is about supporting your teen or 20-something through the messy magic of summer break. So school's out, alarm clocks are off, and suddenly everyone's sense of structure has vanished. Maybe your teen's bouncing between the couch, the fridge, the endless scrolling. Maybe your college kid is back home filling the hallway with laundry and great big emotions. On today's episode, I want to explore a few things. First of all, why summer transitions can feel so shaky for our kids and for us. And also how to apply my focus framework to anchor the family. And I also want to talk about tips from Mel Robbins on identity shifts and taking brave action. And then I also want to talk a little bit about Brené Brown's wisdom on vulnerability, empathy, and boundaries. And then I want to give you a few practical rituals and prompts and micro boundaries that you can try this week. And so grab a drink, take a breath, and let's dive in. Okay, so what actually changes when the bell rings on that last day? Psychologists tell us that transitions amplify emotion, especially in teens and young adults. These moments strip away the familiar structure of school routines and sports schedules and social rhythms and academic pressure. And while that sounds like relief, it often feels more like emotional whiplash. Suddenly there's no bell to signal the next class, no built-in community, no external motivator telling them what to do, where to go, or who to be. Instead, they're faced with a vast stretch of time and the question, now what? Routine disappears, purpose feels fuzzy, peer contact becomes unpredictable, and their developing brains, which by the way crave novelty and security, are left without an anchor. So while summer can be relaxing for some, for others it's very disorienting and even dysregulating. Think of it like releasing a balloon from your hand. There's a moment of exhilarating lift followed by a wobble until it finds a new current. And in that wobbly middle space where it hasn't yet caught the next current, that's where teens often start spiraling. Everyone else is doing something. I should be productive. Why do I feel so off? But here's the powerful part. Your job isn't to steer the balloon. Your job is to be the steady hand they can still see even after you've let go. This might look like remaining emotionally available without hovering, or holding boundaries while offering freedom, or offering compassion when they seem unmotivated or irritable, because what you're witnessing might not be defiance, but disorientation. In these moments, your calm presence gives them something to stabilize against. It's not about solving their struggle, it's about anchoring them through it. Okay, so let's have a quick focus framework refresher. If you've been following me for a while, you're familiar with this, but let's walk through it again. So F is for facts first. What's really happening, not the dramatic narrative in our heads. O, own your thoughts. Notice your judgments, like they're so lazy, and choose something more accurate. For example, they're decompressed and need a nudge. C is for choose your feelings. You get to decide whether to meet boredom with frustration or curiosity. U, understand your actions. Feelings drive behavior. When you shape the feeling, watch the behavior shift. Which leads us to S, shape your results. Small daily choices accumulate into the summer your family remembers. I'll weave the focus framework through the whole episode, so keep that mental sticky note handy. So I just listened to a Mel Robbins podcast titled Feeling Lost in Your 20s. You need to hear this. It's really powerful, especially for parents of teens and young adults. In it, she outlines what she calls 3 massive identity shifts that every young adult goes through. And honestly, these apply even to older teens too. The first one is moving from family-defined identity to self-definition. For most of their lives, your child's identity has been shaped by family norms and values and expectations. Even things like, I'm the responsible one or I'm the creative one are reflections of how they were seen at home. Now they're trying to figure out, who am I without my family script? And what parts do I want to keep and what do I need to let go of? The next one is replacing childhood community with chosen community. Friendships used to happen by default. They had school, church, sports teams, but now they have to build community intentionally. That can be exciting, but also incredibly lonely. It might look like withdrawing or feeling lost or drifting, not because they don't want connection, but because they're learning how to find it on their own. And the last one is trading externally set goals for self-directed purpose. Until now, life was mapped out. Get good grades, finish the semester, graduate. But suddenly, the next steps aren't as obvious. It's no longer, what's the assignment? It's, what do I want? And that's a big, scary question when you're not sure who you are or what you're aiming for. So if your 17-year-old or 22-year-old seems moody, restless, stuck on the couch, or resistant to planning, it's not laziness. It's the vacuum left by these shifts. They're in a season of deconstructing who they've been without yet knowing who they're becoming. And here's where your lens as a parent matters deeply. Share that language with them. Help them name it. You might say, hey, I just listened to this episode and the speaker talked about how this age is full of big changes. Figuring out who you are, building new friendships, deciding on what matters to you. It made me think of you. Not in a fix-it way, but in a, wow, this is a big deal and I see you way. Because sometimes the most helpful thing we can do as a parent isn't giving advice, it's giving context, giving words to what feels foggy and scary. And here's what Mel Robbins says that I love. You are not behind, you're becoming. Let your child hear that from her, from you, from the mirror. They're not lost, they're in process. And your role isn't to rush that process. It's to walk alongside it with open eyes, calm hands, and a heart full of grace. So next time you see your young adult stuck in indecision, remember, they're not lazy, they're rebuilding, and you can help them do it with compassion instead of pressure. And this is where we bring in another one of my favorite tools, something so simple but so effective. It's called the 5-second rule, and it's another gem from Mel Robbins. Now, if you've never heard of it, here's the short version. When your brain starts to hesitate, whether it's about sending a text or making a call, opening your laptop to apply for a job, you count down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. And then you take action immediately. It almost sounds too simple, right? But here's why it works. When we hesitate, even for just a few seconds, our brain's default mode kicks in. It wants to keep us safe, which usually means keep us comfortable. So instead of sending that resume, we scroll. Instead of calling a friend, we avoid. And instead of walking the dog or starting the paper, we delay. Mel Robbins says we have just a 5-second window between having an instinct to act and our mind killing it with fear or doubt. That countdown, it interrupts the habit loop. It creates a pattern break, and it forces your brain to shift gears out of emotion and into action. The 5-second rule works because it disrupts the moment of hesitation, that small space where fear, doubt, or overthinking usually creeps in. It's not about being fearless, it's about acting before fear gets the final vote. And that brings me to something I remind my clients all the time, especially parents trying to motivate their kids. Here's the thing, motivation is unreliable. It shows up late and leaves early. But momentum, that's something we can create in seconds. That one text might lead to a job. That one email might open a door. That one walk around the block might shift their entire emotional state. So next time your teen or 20-something seems paralyzed by indecision, remember, you don't have to push them up the mountain. You just need to help them take one step. And sometimes that step begins with 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. So what does this actually look like in real life? How do we support our teen or young adult when they're stuck? and help them move forward without pushing. This is where the focus framework really shines, because tools like the 5-second rule are powerful on their own, but when you layer them in with awareness and intention, they become transformational. Let's walk through how focus fits perfectly here. So F, facts first. What's really happening? O, own your thoughts. What are they telling themselves? C, choose your feelings. Do they want to feel capable today? U, understand your actions. Avoidance might seem like it's protecting them, but it's also keeping them stuck. And S, shape your results. Help them count down and take one small step. That's how you move from stuck to supportive, and from spiraling into fear to stepping into forward motion. That's how you co-create change with compassion, not pressure. So let's pause here and reflect. What's one thing you have been putting off? What's one micro goal your teen might secretly want to take but doesn't know how to begin? Try it tonight. Write it down, count it out, and do it together. When your home becomes a safe place to practice action in spite of doubt, you're not just solving today's problems, you're teaching a skill that will serve your child for life. Micro actions create momentum, but momentum needs a container. And the container that keeps momentum healthy, according to Dr. Brené Brown, is the powerful pairing of vulnerability and clear boundaries. Brené Brown reminds us that vulnerability is not spilling every detail of your life. It's the willingness to be emotionally exposed enough to build trust. Teens and 20-somethings crave belonging but fear judgment. When we model gentle self-disclosure, like, I'm feeling a little anxious about this summer shift too, we make honesty safe. She also warns that parenting without boundaries is like sending a child across a rickety bridge with no handrails. Clear limits are not prisons, they're guardrails that let our kids cross boldly. Think of a boundary as a permission slip for courage. Phone-free dinners protect focused conversation. Agreed upon curfews protect rest and safety. And shared chore swaps protect fairness and teamwork. Brené Brown says, clear is kind, unclear is unkind. When rules are vague, teens waste energy guessing what will disappoint us. When rules are clear, they channel that energy into growth. And if you want to go a little deeper with Brené Brown's wisdom, here are a few key principles that are especially powerful during the summer months and how we can apply them as parents. The first, vulnerability over armor. Teens already feel exposed by all the transition and change summer brings. When we model authentic sharing, like saying, I'm feeling a little unsettled with the lack of structure too, we show them that it's safe to be real. Just naming one of your own summer worries out loud and then asking, anything on your mind, can open up the door to honest connection. The second is shame versus guilt. Brené teaches that shame sounds like, I am lazy, and it shuts people down. Guilt, on the other hand, sounds like, I didn't do anything today, and that can actually spark change. As a parent, you can gently reframe their self-talk by saying something like, doing nothing today doesn't make you lazy, it just means tomorrow gets a fresh start. That subtle shift can help move your teen forward instead of spiraling. And finally, boundaries plus compassion equals trust. Summer often blurs roles and routines, so having clear expectations really matters. When we co-create simple guidelines like curfews and screen time limits or sharing chores, we're not being controlling, we're building safety. You might call it a summer agreement and frame it as a way to make the summer work for everyone. These small, thoughtful moves help your teen feel grounded, respected, and seen, which is really what they're craving most. And if you're wondering how to start putting all this into practice without it feeling like a big overhaul, here's a good place to begin. Try weaving in a few simple, low-pressure routines that foster connection and structure. A morning check-in. During breakfast, maybe ask, what's one thing on your mind today? Or sunset screens down walks. Take a short walk together at the end of the day. No phones, just presence. Or a weekly plan jam. Every Sunday night, each person picks one personal goal and one fun plan for the week. Or maybe a journal prompt jar. After dinner, pull a prompt out and something like, when I imagine the perfect summer day, ... and write it down or talk about it. These micro rituals don't take much time, but they do something powerful. They weave together the momentum from Mel Robbins' 5-second rule with the emotional safety of Brené Brown's vulnerability and boundaries, turning ordinary evenings into ongoing growth labs. Small, consistent touch points create emotional safety. Summer transitions can feel like a free fall, but with the focus framework, the 5-second push, and vulnerability wrapped in boundaries, you can turn chaos into connection. If you'd like a personalized strategy, head to my website and grab a free 30-minute connection call. I'll put a link in the show notes. And don't miss this week's blog at peacefulheartjourney.com for journal prompts and micro boundaries you can start today. If you love this episode, please subscribe and share it with a friend, and leave a review on Apple Podcasts. It helps other parents find calm in chaotic seasons. So until next time, remember, what you focus on expands. Thanks for hanging out with me today on the Focus Podcast. If something stood out or helped you in some way, feel free to share it or leave a quick review. It means a lot. Keep showing up, keep growing, and I'll catch you in the next episode.